Well, good morning and welcome into the Real Monica Adams show. It is 7 o'clock on a Friday morning. We have a beautiful start to our day, at least here in St. Louis. Our aspiring meteorologist is not in our immediate area. He's going to have another beautiful view for us in just a second. So we will check in with him. We'll also give you some news you can use. And of course, I'll ask you, how are your brackets looking this morning? Some of them all broken up. I had a chance to watch a little bit last night. I played basketball, but not necessarily a big basketball watcher, but all of you that are, let me know, how are your brackets looking? I am actually representing Mizzou today, where I went. I'll give you the results of the Mizzou Drake game. We'll talk a little bit about Illinois on tap today and SIUE. Also, St. Louis City SC, as well as the Blues and the Cardinals. And then, of course, as I mentioned, news you can use. We're also going to talk today about nutrition. And now you're going to see the description. I just realized that it did not save what I typed up last night. So we are not, if you have friends that watch us normally on Instagram or Rumble, we're not on those two platforms this morning. We'll share to those a little bit later today. But the description is not correct in what we're talking about. Just know that you're watching live, that we are going to talk today about your health, your kids' health, as well as something I just saw in the news. And I want to thank my friend for taking the call and saying, yes, I want to come on with you this morning. And we'll talk about those prebiotic sodas that are out there. Do you know Pepsi? We'll talk about this in the news. Pepsi bought Poppy. And we'll talk about a lawsuit that's involved with all of this and whether or not any of those are good for you. I think a lot of people are asking those questions. So we'll get to all of that this morning. With no further ado, let's get to a segment that we call What the Weather.
Good evening from St. Louis, Missouri, and it is a beautiful one.
Yes. What the weather? What's going on? Where is he? This is aspiring meteorologist Beckett Moore. Good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm here in Gulf Shores, Alabama, but unfortunately we're leaving today, and I'll be back in St. Louis on Saturday. So.
Yes, unfortunately, because it's hard to leave the beach, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
What have you done all week?
Mainly just gone to the beach, and I mean, that's been pretty much it. Besides that, there's not that much to do, but I mean, that's all we really want to do is go to the beach.
Yeah, just chill and relax. What's the temperature there right now?
So right now it's in the 40s, so it actually got pretty cold overnight. We got a freeze and some frost even up towards Mobile, a little bit north of here, and I'm guessing you got that there in St. Louis as well, and it's going to only get into the 60s here today.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not beach weather.
No.
All right, then I'm not too jealous of you right now. Well, I am because of your view. That's just stunning. So weather-wise, again, it's kind of been crazy. Obviously, we know what happened with all the tornadoes a week or so ago, and now people are hoping for better days ahead. I'm actually going to show you in the news in just a second about how beautiful the trees are at the Missouri Botanical Garden. Everything, as you're driving around, you'll see that as you head back in. The cherry blossoms are all over the place.
Nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
they're absolutely stunning. Yes. All right. So if you are new to us, you can follow Beckett on X and on YouTube. He's very active in taking care of not just our immediate area, but all over the United States. Let's give you the rundown. Beckett's got the current conditions, and he'll let you know what's coming up over the next 5 days. So take it away, Beckett.
Yes, so looking at the current conditions right now, we got a temperature of around 38 degrees, dew point around 20, and pretty calm wind south-southwest at 7 miles per hour. Now the hour-by-hour forecast here as we head into this afternoon, only getting up into the 60s, which is still above average, but it'll feel a little cooler compared to the temperatures we have been lucky with. But it will be a pretty cloudy day here in St. Louis. Now looking at tonight's forecast at 5 p.m., 65 degrees, so we will get into the mid to upper 60s today. 8 p.m. around 60, and then 10 p.m. dropping down into the mid 50s, partly cloudy skies. Now tomorrow's forecast, 42 starting the day as you walk out the door. Sunny skies, looking like a very nice sunrise tomorrow morning. 12 p.m., 55 degrees and sunny, and then into the afternoon only getting into the lower 60s with mostly sunny skies. And then looking at the extended forecast tomorrow, again, high in the mid 60s, mostly sunny skies. Now on Sunday, that's when we're going to have the rain chance mostly in the morning, and then it's going to be cloudy for the rest of the day. And then looking at a pretty nice week ahead of us, Monday, Tuesday, into the 60s, and seeing 60s all throughout the week. And then Friday, later into next week, getting into the lower 80s. So very, very nice week, and not too much rain besides Sunday.
So you're coming back home. How long of a drive is it?
Well, it's 11 hours if we went all the way, but we're going to be breaking it up in Memphis.
And soon you'll be able to help them with the driving.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to that, by the way, a year away?
Yeah, I say I would. Yeah.
Yeah, because I hear some people in your age that they're like, no, 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 I don't want to get it yet. I was like, I couldn't wait to get my permit and get out there driving, but I hear different. We'll have to actually have you join us on a future generational talk and ask. And I want to ask you about others that you go to school with, if they feel the same way, because I've heard from 16, 17, 18-year-olds, and they're like, no, I want to wait. I don't want the responsibility, which I think is interesting. Do you hear
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. Yeah.
Huh. But not you. You want yours.
Yeah. Hmm.
You're going to help out mom and dad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, please be safe coming back home. Enjoy the last few hours of that gorgeous view. And we look forward to having you on Monday.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, folks. Again, that's aspiring meteorologist Beckett Moore. He's so, so good. And again, safe travels to you. If you're just tuning in, it is the Real Monica Adams Show. We're going to run through some news you can use, the support continuing to pour in for the St. Louis City police officer that was injured in the line of duty. Support coming in for Officer Nathan Spees. A driver hit Spees on Monday while he tried to catch a carjacking suspect. His leg had to be partially amputated after being hit on the interstate near Shreve. Police said he has undergone 2 surgeries since that incident. It's the second time the officer has been seriously injured in the line of duty. He and Officer Colin Ledbetter back in 2022 were shot in the line of duty while attempting to stop a car connected to a homicide in Ferguson. Officer Spees was shot in the leg. Ledbetter was shot in the groin and the foot. So again, this is the reason why so many incredible organizations step up, as well as the community, to help out our officers. There is a GoFundMe. I actually posted it on my social media pages yesterday to help with expenses while Officer Speed continues to recover in the hospital. And obviously, you have those wonderful organizations like Backstoppers and Responder Rescue that will step in as well. But again, community is pouring in with the support, which I absolutely love to hear. If you didn't hear that story, now you do. And again, you can go to my page, or I can have Jenny drop in the GoFundMe link for that as well. Jenny Egan, by the way, when you see her drop in information, it is from my team. So you can go ahead and click on that. We're going to talk about this today with my guest in just a few minutes. PepsiCo acquiring the prebiotic soda maker Poppy for almost $2 billion. And a lot of people are asking, hey, I give that to my kids. Is that healthy? Well, we're going to discuss that and the other things that you give to your children as well. Gut health, a very popular selling point, and rival brand Olipop announced a funding round last month that valued the company at $1.85 billion. So again, PepsiCo acquiring Poppy for almost $2 billion, which is just unbelievable. Again, they want to get into that game. So we'll talk about that coming up for you in just a bit. In other news, Woolite laundry detergent is being recalled for potential bacteria contamination. And we talk a lot about recalls. This time it has to do with what's showing up in your washing machine. Officials say the soap in question might contain a form of bacteria that's often present in water and soil. It can infect a person by entering through the eyes or maybe even a cut in your skin. People with weakened immune systems or external medical devices who are maybe exposed to the bacteria face a risk of serious infection that may require medical treatment. So again, this has been issued for more than 16,000 bottles of Woolite's Delicates detergent that you're seeing here on the scene. There have been no related injuries so far. The detergent was sold on Amazon in January. It involves 50 fluid ounce bottles. And here are your lot codes. S24364. And as I give you these, you can always come back, obviously, and make sure that this is not something that you have. Again, S24364, S24365, and S24366. To receive a refund, consumers should write their name and then recalled in permanent marker on the back of the product. Take a photo with the UPC and lot code visible, and then email that photo to Consumer Care, Consumer Product Safety Commission, again, giving all that information. You can find all that obviously online, but we'll help you out with that, dropping some information in to that as well. We're going to get to your brackets in just a second. In other news you can use besides that recall, Segway is recalling over 200,000 scooters after 20 people have been injured already by a mechanical glitch. 220,000 scooters because of this potential for the folding mechanism to fail. And again, it's left these people with injuries. According to Segway, the recall involves all Segway 9-bot Max G30Ps and then Max G30LP kick scooters. According to a notice by the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, they have received 68 reports of the folding mechanism failing, including those 20 injuries. And they were broken bones and bruises and lacerations. Consumers are asked to stop using those recalled scooters, contact Segway to determine whether the mechanism needs adjustment, and then to get a free maintenance kit that includes tools and instructions on tightening that mechanism. So again, just trying to keep an eye out for you in case you have these things at your home. Well, MoDOT's breaking ground on one of the largest contract departments in history, actually, with this Interstate 70 project. So if you live out in St. Charles County, or maybe out in the Warrenton area, this is for you. The next phase to improve the I-70 program. This is a major project expanding the interstate from Warrenton to Wentzville. So if you're in our immediate area or you travel into Missouri, this will affect you. State and local leaders, along with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission, the contractor team gathered, and they closed eastbound 70's way station in Forestell for a ceremony. Funded by Missouri's 2024 budget, the project's part of a $2.8 billion investment to add a third lane in each direction along nearly 200 miles of Interstate 70. It's the Warrenton to Wentzville stretch that we're talking about here, the largest single contract in MoDOT's history at $600 million. Construction is set to begin in the spring of this year, finish then by late 2028. And here's your improvements: a third lane in each direction with new concrete pavement, upgrades at that 70, 64, 61 interchange, the interchange and the outer road improvements in Warrenton, Wright City, Forestell, and Route Z, railroad bridge realignment between Wentzville Parkway and Route Z, and then additional lanes on 64 between 70 and Route K. So for all of you that are in our immediate area and live out in St. Charles County, I'm sure this one is making you happy. Dollar General, they are planning to close nearly 100 stores across the nation. And when this came in, no immediate word as to where those stores are, but they are planning to do this in the first quarter of the year. In addition to closing 96 Dollar General stores, the company will also shutter 45 of its Pop Shelf stores and converting 6 of those to Dollar General. They represent less than 1% of the company's overall store base, though. And as I mentioned, a list of the impacted stores was not readily available. You know, we always talk about the community coming together to help everyone. And I love the fact that they're doing just that with this business. A concert fundraiser, I want you to put this on your calendar, is going to be held for a South City cafe. This one, damaged by fire. This is the Gelateria, a South St. Louis cafe. Again, this is on March 27th is this concert fundraiser. Off Broadway will be hosting a concert with local DJs and artists, all the proceeds benefiting the Gelateria. The show will start at 7 o'clock off Broadway, by the way, located on Lemp. Admission is by donation, and $10 to $20 is suggested. A GoFundMe has also been set up, by the way, to support the Gelateria. Andrew Fair is the owner, and he said the fire started in the building's basement, spread to the cafe and other parts of the building. So if you have supported them in the past and wondered what happened, again, they're going to get back on their feet, all thanks to all of you. All right, before we get into the basketball news and other sports news, here's a rundown of what is taking place for you today. National California Strawberry Day, National Fragrance Day, National Single Parent Day. Yes, I know that's one of the most difficult things to do, is to be a single parent. There are other things that are on tap for our National Day of calendar. We talked the other day about National Future Generations Day. And I always like to say we love our generational talk, and we will be bringing that back. That's what we were talking about the other day. So stay tuned for that in the coming weeks. National Memory Day, National Countdown Day, and National French Bread Day. I mentioned during Beckett's weather report. This is what we see not only at the Missouri Botanical Garden, but you've probably seen this right there in your front yard. They're absolutely stunning, aren't they? The cherry blossom alert. Wednesday afternoon, the Missouri Botanical Garden posted these pictures on social media that the Taiwan cherry was in full bloom in the Japanese garden. They also noted that the weeping cherries and the Yoshinos were starting to bloom. And the bloom times, of course, are subject to change. But if you're looking for something to do, you might want to go over to the Missouri Botanical Garden and enjoy those beautiful views. All right, in sports news, first of all, how many of you are watching basketball right now? And how many of you watched this game last night and got very frustrated? I'm still representing them today, but the Missouri Tigers, as you can see, they are out in that first round, 67-57 to Drake. It was a tough one, but somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. So in other round action, it's SIUE and Houston. That final yesterday, SIUE lost 78-40 to Houston. So what's on tap for you today? What will you be watching? And go ahead and shout out your team if it's not one that we talk about. Illinois, we always like to concentrate on our immediate area. Illinois will be playing Xavier today. That will be at 8:45. And then in St. Louis City action, they're on tap tomorrow. They'll be playing Philadelphia. That game is at 6:30. If you want to kind of look ahead, their next one will be on Sunday, March 30th. That's a 1:15 in the afternoon game. I love those for families. If you haven't been to a City game, you are definitely missing out. It is an absolute blast, and we should be so proud of that stadium. Cardinals fans, it is the Cards and the Houston Astros in spring training today at 12:05. Also the Cards and the Mets today at 12:10. But they've got different leagues going on in the Grapefruit League as well. The Cards and the Marlins then tomorrow at 12:10. And next Thursday, they will be coming back home as we get ready for the Cardinals home opener. It's going to be a blast. So that's how we do it. We give you all that information in the first 15 minutes of the show. If you're new to it, we give you news you can use. We give you weather. We give you some sports news. And then again, you have the option to drop in anything you want in the comments for the community to start talking about things that are on your mind. As I mentioned in the very beginning, Instagram and Rumble, we're not on those today, but we are on X and YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook. It is not the description, though, of what it says that today's show is about. Gotta love technology, right? It did not cooperate with what I typed up last night. Well, today we're talking about nutrition for you, for your kids, and again, getting down to some of the things that maybe they start their day with. And a lot of kids say, but Mom, I'm drinking these healthy drinks. These are prebiotic drinks. I know that it's healthy. I hear that. I hear that in the news, or I hear that being talked about in school. Well, are they? We're going to talk about that with a dear friend of mine that you may have seen in the past on Fox 2 when I was there. She's been in the circuit through media, but helping so many over the years. She is a registered dietitian. Reshaunda Thornton is her name, and I'm going to have Jenny drop in all the information of where you can find her. It's a different dietitian, nutrition plus human biology plus psychology. We'll let you know where you can find her, and she's here for you today to answer questions about where maybe you think things are going wrong for you or for your children. We'll have more with Reshaunda when we return.
Carroll House Furniture Homes look the best because of our free design service. Our designers please your taste.
Let's reimagine your room with 50 brand name choices.
We'll create a 3D design with a 360 view for your room.
Free design services are just the beginning. Free 0% financing, fast free delivery and setup, and the guaranteed lowest prices in the country with no stipulations.
You'll get a perfect custom floor plan for your new dream room.
Carroll House Design, because you like nice things.
Create beautiful gardens and landscaped areas with everything you need at Hoffman Hillerman Nursery and Florist. A great selection of outdoor and indoor plants, gardening items, landscape materials, lawn and garden equipment, and much more. Hoffman Hillerman Nursery and Florist.
We're super excited to be there next Wednesday for a Mobile Monica. That will be at 10 o'clock in the morning. And as I mentioned, you can definitely feel spring in the air, trying to get that green thumb on, huh? Yeah, well, how about the potting bar? They have these private classes for 2 and just absolutely beautiful flowers. They sent a bouquet over to us and they were just stunning. So if you're wanting some help, they can do it for you next Wednesday. You can come on over with us or be sure to watch that show, 10 o'clock in the morning, Hoffman Hillerman Nursery in Washington. in. All right, welcome back to the show. It is 7:20. You're tuned in to the Real Monica Adams Show, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to maybe call or text, email, and let people know that we're going to discuss nutrition today, and this affects everyone. I have been friends with this woman for a long, long time. In fact, she had me on a show that she had a podcast show many, many, many years ago, and we talked about a lot of different things. It is the love that we have for health and fitness. And I know a lot of people struggle with their own nutrition and say, Monica, I try. And we know that I try so hard to be good. And then I do it for a day and then I drop off. Well, Reshaunda is very big on empowering you and educating you. And I'm thrilled to have her on with us this morning. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Goodness, good morning, hello.
Oh, we're getting a little feedback in your audio, unfortunately. Do you have your AirPods on?
You can go get them.
Well, no, yeah. Hang on. Let me do this. Take a break because we're getting some really bad feedback, and she's got some incredible things to tell you about. So let's do that. Let's take a quick break, and then we're going to make sure that her audio sounds fantastic because there's not one thing that you want to miss in what she has to say today. By the way, start loading up questions about what you feel might be going wrong in your day-to-day eating. We'll do this with Reshaunda when we return.
Hey guys, I just want to tell you, being on the Monica Adams Show has just been a delight. It's been a joy. What she's doing for the community is amazing. I'm so proud to be sitting in this blue chair, being honored and honoring the people for the showcase that I'm doing for the Neiman Marcus Black Creatives in the Lou Black History Month Showcase. I want to end this segment with a poem that I wrote. I grew up on the North Side. That's where it all started. Dreams, goals, and aspirations grew within me, and they never departed. You see, my environment was jaded, but that never fazed me, because what my parents instilled in me made my dreams go crazy. Mama was my cheerleader, and Papa gave me the tools. Everything could be yours, they would say. Just make sure you follow these rules. Work hard, don't look back, and keep your mind set on stable. And if you can't find yourself somewhere to sit, create your own table. Thank you, Monica, for creating this table. Take care. Be blessed.
This lady got me in the best shape of my life. I literally didn't know that I could be in shape like that. But the amount that she pours into her clients, and especially whenever you get the one-on-one training, it's mind-blowing. I mean, it was really life-changing. I learned so much about proper form, about nutrition, about just being able to invest in myself. I hired Monica to be my personal trainer, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
And welcome back at the Real Monica Adams Show. All right, we shift some things around so she doesn't sound like a robot. Good morning, Reshaunda.
Good morning, Monica.
Much better. How have you been?
Oh my, I have been doing great. I'm so glad you called me about this topic because it is a very hot topic right now.
Absolutely. If you're just tuning in, Reshaunda is a registered dietitian, and you have been in the field for how long now?
Oh my, I don't want to tell my age, but I've been in this field for like 15 years in this.
I don't want to tell my age. Well, again, the passion of it, what got you involved in wanting to do this to take care of, and we're going to talk about so many ages today, but to take care of so many people, what got you into that?
You know, I know every day people struggle. They struggle with their weight, they struggle with their health, and they just can never crack that egg. And so I realized that it's not a cookie cutter, it's not disseminating diets, it's really working with people one-on-one to understand what's really the reason why they're not feeling that confidence. Sometimes it's not having knowledge. Sometimes it's not having resources. And so what I do is I try to meet people halfway where they're at and reconfigure how to incorporate their nutrition into their life, instead of trying to make them fit into some other program.
Right.
So it's about working with people one-on-one, getting to understand them, and then helping them to build strategy so they know what to do for their health and for their weight changes.
Absolutely. And I mentioned in the beginning that you had me on your show many, many, many years ago. Are you still doing that?
Oh, I have some other projects that I'm doing, but as far as the podcast show, I have put that on the back burner for now. But I have a lot of other good things that's in the mix that you'll probably send me a lot more in the St. Louis area.
Oh, you can't tell us. This is secret, top secret.
Well, not a top secret anymore since it is official, and so
Okay.
I will put it out there. I will be. I have been recruited. I will be now the head dietitian for the St. Louis Cardinals for this season.
Ah, look at you.
Yeah, so you'll see me with the players. I'll be on the field with the players. I'll be in the eating area where they're eating, overseeing their foods, and but working with them one on one with their nutrition, helping to readapt their food so they can have the best performance. So if they have a winning season this year, you'll know why.
It's my girl. She fed them well. She taught them how to eat well. That's kind of what we're going to talk about today. If you're just tuning in, Reshaunda Thornton, again, registered dietitian, now to be working with our St. Louis Cardinals, opening day, by the way, on Thursday. This is a good thing to discuss. So people think, oh, I'm going to go to opening day. Well, come on, there's not the best food there. I'm eating hot dogs and I'm eating nachos and I'm drinking beer. And then they get so frustrated with themselves. How do you get them to break the mindset of so much pressure?
Well, I say it this way. You know you're going to a baseball game, you know what type of foods are going to be there. And it's a part of the experience. So when you go in there, come with some sort of strategy. Perhaps you can still enjoy those foods, and maybe you split it with your other individual that you're going to the game with. I would always say make sure, even though if the game's a day game, still have a healthy breakfast. That way you are getting your healthy foods in. Be very intentional doing the small things like making sure you're drinking more water. You know, Fortunately, they do have healthier options at the field. How about stick some of those out and just try some of those foods? You may find they're just as tasty, even if it's not the hot dog or, the higher calorie foods.
But you know what? That's what so many people get confused because they think the choices that they're making are good choices. Or sometimes they're like, I'm so confused. I don't know whether this is or isn't. If someone is going to, right now we're talking about basketball, right? And the Cardinals coming up. Yes, Stephanie, by the way, I forgot to mention the Blues with the win last night. So yes, the Blues game. Congratulations to them. But any sporting event, I don't care whether it's professional or you're going to your kids and you're trying to be a good role model for them. What are better choices that we can make when we're at those type of events?
So I'll tell you some things that I purchase. If I am going to purchase, I'll think about just snacks. I'll do like nuts because there's a healthy fat. I definitely usually try to go for the water because I really try to avoid. We'll talk about sugars and things of that nature. I'll grab popcorn only because it's something that I can measure and I can share. So I'm less likely going to eat it all. And let's see, they do have some sort of like chips. Sometimes they have pretzels there as far as little pretzels. I would share a big pretzel. So I try to find like the things that I feel that are not necessarily that are light in calories, but also something that's not fried, something that is not lathered with a lot of heavy sauces. And so those are typically the choices that I make. And I always just have a nice, pleasant lunch or dinner before I go there. So I'm not tempted to have so much of those types of foods.
Absolutely. And I think, you gave us great tips over the years in television. We would have you on like getting ready for Super Bowl and people are so overwhelmed. Again, they give so much power to food and they would go to these and I'm trying to stay strong. And then we would always say, well, maybe before you go that you're eating something healthy, that you are getting something that's going to make you full, that you're not tempted to do all of that. But we're going to talk about pressures in just a second. Pressures on yourself, pressures on, am I parenting correctly? What am I giving to my kids? Before we do that, though, I mentioned this in the news. So for those of you that are just tuning in, you may not have seen this, but PepsiCo acquired the prebiotic soda maker Poppi. Again, almost $2 billion. That's a lot of money, looking to get into the market of what appears to be healthy. Now, I'm going to give it to the registered dietitian. Are those type of drinks, whether it's the Poppi one or any of the other ones that are out there, are they healthy?
So I'll compare some of the simplicity things, which is sometimes the focus is sugar. So I did my research. So I would say comparables for regular sodas is 1/8 the amount of sugar. So it is substantially low in sugar, but it's still about moderation. Just because it's low in sugar don't mean that we continue to drink it more because then we end up having more sugar. So in that sense, it's relatively is a little bit healthier, and the ingredients are more so cane sugar versus high fructose corn syrup. So for that respect, it's healthier. Now, when it comes to they're marketing themselves as a prebiotic beverage.
Right.
Um, there is prebiotics in it, but it's not as much as one thinks is in there. And I am not saying that it's a bad thing, but if you're using that as your main marketing sell and people approach it because they think it's really going to help with their gut health, that's where I think the misinformation is there, and people are using it as their prebiotic beverage when there's so many other natural other forms of prebiotics that can be taken versus just the soda.
Right. It's the immediacy of things, and oh, this is the next pop thing that's out there again. I had clients that I was personal training, and I hadn't even heard of it. This was like several months ago, and they're like, "Monica, no, I'm telling you, that's healthy. Look at it." And I was like, I need to have a dietitian on. I don't know about this. I am actually glad, though, that the mindset, right? That's what I want to get at, that the mind is wanting to do better. So it's now reading labels, getting the kids to say, look at this, look at the amount of sugars that are in your soda, and then look at the transfer over here, and then trying to get them to think that way. So let's get into that from all of you that are parents. And I always use the word blessed. You are blessed to have children. I hope you understand that. If you are struggling in the parenting aspect and you see that your kids are struggling, and we know what happens with that, right? It goes hand in hand with their physical, their mental, their spiritual side. They're getting bullied at school. They're being called fat. They're being made fun of. It's so difficult, and parents are at home trying to do their best. What steps can you start to give them to start to clean up theirs? And I'm sure it's probably the entire home because it kind of goes hand in hand.
You know, it's about language because you use terminology like fat and just words that are not necessarily positive things for children, right? So when you're working with children, instead of like letting it be about weight, you know, you want to look at it as how you want to teach them to have a healthy body. So these foods are good for my health, good for my body. So it's not necessarily weight is like the reason to eat less or eat more, eat certain foods. And so when you're working with kids, you know, let's think about have a conversation with them on what do they think would be healthy foods for their body. And I think when you convert that language into talking about their body and health, that helps them to understand the foods that they're eating is what's going to contribute to that versus weight gain or weight loss. And I think that's most important when it comes to starting a conversation with utilizing that language to start off with.
And also the pressures. I mean, what I've always seen, whether it's a young client that I've trained or an adult or a senior, is the amount of pressure that they put on themselves and the amount of power they give the food. Can you discuss that? And then also kind of a transition into mindful versus mindless eating.
Oh my. Well, when it comes to that conversation about the power of food, that is something that I always discuss with people because we do. We give food a lot of power. We feel like we need to have certain foods in order to be happy, to help us when we're sad, to resolve the anger. Well, food doesn't have that ability. And so when you reconfigure your relationship with food, you really can understand you are the one that decide if you're going to have something or not. And also, when you think about your relationship with food, look at food as your partner, which means if you partner with the healthy foods, your food in reverse is going to give you the healthy body. And so when you look at that dynamic and change it, that way you're not subjected to unhealthy foods and feel like you need that, you realize it's really about what you decide to do and how you decide to engage with the foods as far as your health. And you realize they're your partner, you know, and I think that's a beautiful thing because you want to seek a partnership that helps to better you. That's what partnerships are. So if seeking those healthier foods are going to do you do your part, they're going to do their part. And I think that's the relationship that we want to reconform. And I think that eliminates that feeling of needing to have these sugars or needing to have these fatty foods when intellectually we know that doesn't lead to our health, but we sometimes always try to find things to cope with. And I find that that's why we start leaning into things that we feel we need, when at the end of the day, we all know you don't feel better after you grab that donut. You don't feel your best after you grab the cookie. You actually feel worse. So let's change that dynamic and focus on how you want to feel better about the foods you are engaging with, because you know at the end of the day, you're still treating yourself well. And to me, that relinquish that power to you and away from those foods.
Yeah. And again, I hope you're all getting aha moments, and feel free to drop any questions or comments. Rose just said, Poppy is expensive, but when I want a soda, see, it's that, oh, I just want a soda taste. I have one of those instead of a regular or diet soda. I agree with you. Reshaunda, probiotic ? Not a reason to drink it. I love the orange. Tastes to me like Fanta or Sunkist without the sugar and the high fructose.
Okay. Well,
Giving you the opportunity to have the taste. Again, it's the transfer of the mindset. Jenny wants to know, do you have any tips on helping a child through, I was just going to get that, through a food addiction? And I wanted to talk about addictions, whether you see it as so drawn to food and wanting to hide food, or I have a child right now that I understand is, without being labeled it, or without being diagnosed it, I should say, people are labeling, well, it's got to be anorexia, it's got to be bulimia. All those things, all those pressures are still out there, as they have been for a long, long time. I mean, it's been around for decades. And I guess I would ask you, do you feel like it's gotten any better over the years, gotten worse, stayed the same?
Well, I think giving having more accessibility to being exposed as far as children and adults, let's say social media, you're seeing it more, it's modeled more. And I feel that that's one of the influences that perpetuates it. So I think that it's a continuum. I don't think that it's going away. However, when it comes to a child having an addiction, I think that's could be a cultural thing as far as what his or her environment is or what they see. Because sometimes you see it and therefore you look at it as your avenue too, because it doesn't just pop up, it comes from somewhere. So I think it's more important to see where that perhaps influence is coming from, and then it can be directed to a healthcare professional can really work with that child on a psychological level.
That's the thing I would ask you. How do you even broach that subject, though, to say that the kid's going to be taken to a counselor without them feeling so much pressure on themselves, and actually in that point thinking, oh, something's wrong with me?
Well, I think we need to take the negativity off of speaking to any counselor or therapist. I had a close friend of mine that told me, and I believe it to be true. She said everyone needs a therapist, and it's not because you have a problem. We don't go to a therapist when you have a problem. You have to go to a therapist so you don't have problems, right? Because have someone to communicate that's unbiased, know how to professionally handle the right questions, know how to help you work through some areas that you just may have problems with. So I think that when you're talking with your child and trying to take away that stigma, maybe just helping them to have a conversation with someone that they can talk about this with, and maybe they're more open because it's not their parent, it's not a relative, not someone that they feel that would judge them. But I think it's more so just helping them to reconstruct the conversation about, you're going to have a conversation with that person. I know there's some things that you may want to talk about, and you're able to talk about them and between you and that person. I think that may open up a gateway to where they'll be more able to have a conversation without it feeling like they're forced to do it.
And communication hard, especially you figure out the different ages of a child at some point when they think that their parents don't know anything. They don't want to listen to their parent. Then it's trying to find where is a role model that they would listen to. And it could be an educator. It could be an aunt. It could be a friend of the family. Just hopefully somebody that they might connect with when they don't want to listen to their parents.
Yes, that's at the end of the day, parents are cool, they're not smart, less likely to talk to their parents.
We're going to take a quick break. Reshaunda Thornton, again, registered dietitian. Reshaunda, where's the best place for them to follow you? And if they have any questions for you, or maybe want to look into having you help them?
Oh, for sure. Go to my website. It's ReshaundaThornton.com. Pretty easy. My Instagram handle is the Dietitian Against Diets. And so if you just type in Reshaunda Thornton on Google, I guarantee you a lot of things will pop up and my information will be there. So fortunately, it's the easy way to get connected with me.
And I'm keeping it up on the screen so you have the correct spelling of her name. Again, Reshaunda Thornton. If you have questions, and I see some coming in, go ahead and drop them in right now, trying to guide you and not to shame you. I mean, that's the thing. If you've been going along and you just feel shame for yourself, shame for your kids, it's breaking through that to be able to really start stepping into where your journey should be. And we'll talk about that journey when we return.
Is so outdated and old. Can you help?
Let's take down this wall and add a support beam there.
Or just replace the furniture.
I love it.
New sofa, chaise lounge, and tables from Carroll House.
What about this bedroom?
Let's tear down this wall.
Or a new bed, dresser, and accessories.
It's like a whole new room.
Get free in-home design, fast free delivery, and free financing too. Skip the remodel. Add new furnishings from Carroll House for your new perfect room. Because you like nice things.
What's up, y'all? Steve Ewing over here, and I'm hanging out with Monica Adams on the Monica Adams Show. It was awesome to be able to come in here, talk about what we do, and really kind of have some positive things to say about our city, about St. Louis, all the really cool things happening here. Such a great environment here, and I love her energy, and I love the energy she puts into telling these stories about the really cool things happening in our city. Thanks, Monica, for having me on the show. This was amazing. I get to talk about all my good stuff, and you get to give them that energy, which I love. So thank you very much.
Oh, we love him and love hearing all the people that we've interviewed over the last 2 years. If you're new to the show, we just celebrated 500 shows and going strong. We just moved our studios, by the way, from the University Club Tower buildings in Richmond Heights. Now we're over in Fenton, and excited to maybe bring you on the show. So if you've got a topic or a guest you would like to see on the show, just reach out to me. My email is info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. And yeah, let's talk about who you would like to see as well. Make sure that you share, like, follow our live stream. Again, those of you that are tuning in and maybe you see the description, we had a show yesterday where we featured a beautiful boutique in the Richmond Heights area, and it's still saying that. So it's not what we're talking about today. It just did not save, unfortunately, all the stuff that I typed up last night. Don't you hate technology sometimes? It's ridiculous. I'm like, come on, you put in all the work and it doesn't happen. Reshaunda Thornton is who I have on this morning, and I want you to let everybody know that, yeah, we're taking care of your health and your nutrition. So if you have a question for Reshaunda, you can get it in now. If you have to pop off, come back to the show because she's giving you some really great tips. I saw earlier Stephanie was asking, Reshaunda, I drink Powerade Zero and Body Armor Zero. Are they good to drink?
I would say if I were to choose between the two, I would choose Body Armor, comparable to the other product. And the reason why, anything with a zero, that basically is a red flag that it's some sort of artificial sweetener in there. And I'm not here to give any negative or positive about artificial sweeteners, but I also try to look out for those as well. So I would say Body Armor would be the one I would prefer over the other.
And I'm glad we talked about sweeteners, though, because people, again, here's the greatest thing I'm sure you've seen in all of your time of being a dietitian is people so confused. There's so much out there. There's so much dis and misinformation. There's so much this year, this is good for you. Oh, wait a minute. Now it's bad for you. And I know all of you, we feel it. We feel your pain because you are so frustrated when you are literally trying to make a conscious effort to be healthier. So let's just take that. If someone's going out and they're getting iced tea or they're getting hot tea somewhere, they're getting their coffee, what would be the best to put a little sweetener in? Would it be more actual honey or agave or something like that as opposed to something in a packet?
I'm always going for what's natural, and I would definitely say honey or agave nectar.
Okay.
Yeah.
If they are going to use a packet, can you tell them what stevia is and what's your viewpoint on stevia?
Sure. Yeah. So you have sugar substitutes. You have artificial. You have natural sugar substitutes. So your natural sugar substitute sweeteners, stevia and monk fruit. So if you are going to choose a way to sweeten your beverages, your foods, stevia and monk fruit are better go because at least they're more of a natural sweetener versus versus all of the artificial sweeteners.
And what's the difference between stevia and truvia?
They're basically similar, the same thing. They're all coming from a rooted plant. They're still a natural product. Just it's all about the branding at that point.
Okay. Again, if you're just tuning in, and right now we're going to your questions. If you have a question for Reshaunda, don't miss out on the opportunity. Ask anything. Don't shame yourself. We talked about that as we went into the break, and we're going to address that in a second. Richard said, so are you saying being skinny is not necessarily being healthy? You can be overweight and still be healthy? Question mark.
That is a good question because we do look at the outside and we already decide if a person's healthy versus on what they look on the outside. Well, that is not necessarily true. You can be skinny, but you may not be having a great composition of lean body. They should call it skinny fat if you want to use that word. You still are not, if you're not still feeding your body the healthy foods, then that mitigates the health part. So yes, people can gain weight and be lean or be heavier, but it's all about what you're giving your body. So to answer the question on the other side, if you're overweight, if you're giving your body healthy foods and it is just a regular thing that a lifestyle that you live, then you can be let's say overweight, but still be healthy. And on the other side, just being lean doesn't always designate that you are healthy. It's really about what you're giving yourself, more what it looks like on the outside.
Yep. Don't look at the aesthetics. What is your lifestyle? What kind of choices are you making? Jenny asked, are electrolytes important for kids?
Yes, in respects of if those kids are needing that in certain environments. So electrolytes are really uh, sodium and potassium, and those are going to be needed for water retention to help mitigate and fire our muscle tissue. So when we sweat, we lose electrolytes. So we want to make sure you're drinking those beverages because it helps to rebalance that. So more importantly, in humid and hot environments, when you're sweating more, is really when you want to infuse electrolytes. And to kind of go back to those Under Armour and those other questions about those beverages for hydration, simple electrolyte water is the same thing as these other beverages. They just have sweeteners in it, they have sugar in it. So if you just really want true electrolyte water, just purchase electrolyte water. You're going to get the same benefits without needing to have the sweets and the sweeteners and the sugars in it to have that make that happen.
Again, valuable information here. And yes, Rose, you are correct. She said, Reshaunda, you are so pretty as you are smart. Rose said, I was a few minutes late getting on. Sorry if you have to repeat, but what advice do you give someone with an addiction to sugar? She said, I know everyone's sick of me talking about it. We're not at all. You put it out there because what you are saying, a lot of people may not be willing to put out there, right? They think they're going to get shamed, which is what we're going to discuss in a second. She said, it's like a drug to me. It's bad. I do good for weeks. Then I need a fix, then go downhill, have to start over. I'm like a real junkie. Rather have a donut or a Slurpee than food. And I'm depressed about it. Which, by the way, Rose, thank you for your honesty.
And that's the first I'm going to say, Rose, thank you for just putting it out there because a lot of people struggle with those simple same things and they don't want to talk about it. So guess what that means, Rose? Do you really want to change? And I appreciate you saying that. So when it comes to sugar addiction, it's by design in a way. We're laden with products. We're surrounded by things with sugar, and a lot of products have sugar in it we don't even know. So I just think that our environment has a lot to do with it. So Rose, for you, I would say understand that sometimes if you do feel that sugar addiction is the culprit of your I guess progression or wanting to be healthy, one thing you don't want to do is just completely eliminate it. I know it sounds like an oxymoron because we think if we just stop doing it, we're going to be better, right? It's really about how do you just learning how to lessen it. That way you're finding yourself, you're still meeting in the middle of where you're still having some, because it's kind of like weaning off of any drug, right? You want to wean off of it. So I would say, you decide when you're going to have your sweet versus it just randomly happen. That way you're kind of placing it in your day versus just, oh my God, I just really need that donut. No, we don't need the donut. We just want the donut. So decide the donut is something that you desire. How about you plan to have it? That way you're the one at least controlling the intake of it. And then you may say, maybe I'll just split the donut, eat one half for breakfast and eat the second half for lunch. You still have the entire donut. You're just deciding how you're going to have it. So when you start just manipulating like how you have it versus just deciding not to have it or going all in, you find that you do have more control than you feel you do. And then perhaps over time, you may decide to have that half that donut for breakfast, and then you'll save it for the next day. So what I'm saying is always a way to like transitionally change as far as lessening your intake versus think you need to clean it all the way out, because it's a mindset too. Physiologically, there is a level of addiction, but it's only because your body's just used to having it. Okay.
Right.
But psychologically, you just feel like you need to have it. So when you realize you don't need to have it, you just want to have it, then you can say, well, how can I have it differently?
Yep.
Then I'd have donut holes, which is just a smaller version. So I just think it's not always black and white. Everyone is different, but just try different things to just help have less of it. And you may find that that need is not as much as you think it was. And then over time, you find that addiction is not really there anymore.
And you also may do this and point to the mind. The mind can be your greatest friend or your worst enemy, and it's what you give to it. It's also really, truly mindful eating and being present in it, as well as what kind of power are you giving to the food and how is it serving you? Those are the things you hear me say a lot in life. Anything, whether we're talking about food, we're talking about a friendship, a relationship, alcohol, gaming, the food, or the cell phone that you're scrolling through, the addiction to social media. There's so many addictions that are out there, but it's how is that serving our life, right? So, Rose, again, I can't say enough how much I love the fact that you put it out there, and no one's shaming anybody. It's probably a lot of people listening quietly saying, I'm in the same boat. I'm so glad that she asked that. And then it's you helping others around you. And I know a lot of you have asked in the past about your children, and you get frustrated about that you go off to school, right? You send them off to school with something healthy. They don't want to eat what you gave them. And so they're bypassing that, and it's I was talking to a friend yesterday saying the convenience that kids have now, I'm just going to order something. Mom and dad's credit cards attached to DoorDash. Here it comes. I'm going to just bring the food in, but I'm going to hide that. I'm going to store it away. I don't want them to see that. It's all of those things that are happening to the kids. How do you get them to start wanting to eat healthy? Do you get them involved in the way you're making food? Where's the teaching aspect of it? Because I'm hearing parents say, Reshaunda, that when they go to school that they're not being taught the type of health things that I thought they were, and what they're being offered at school is still pizzas and nachos and all the unhealthy things. So it's working against maybe what they're trying to do at home.
Yeah, that is very true. We call it, in terminology in the dietetics world, we call it competition food.
Oh, yeah.
Convenient, quick food, the packaged food, the snacks, the ice cream, things we competes against the kids eating healthier foods. Um, I really feel that children, they want ownership to things. They are used to always being told, right? So how about we give them agency? And this is to answer that question. Get them involved in what it looks like to create healthy meals. Give them decisions. Okay, hey, we're gonna make a pizza today. We're gonna make pizza from home. And let's put some ingredients that you like, and then let's talk about some new ingredients that we can add. And then let's try it out. And guess what? They're gonna like it because they made it, right?
Yep.
Create their own trail mixes. Help them to go shopping, help them shop with you and decide, help them start learning about, okay, certain cereals and understanding, this cereal may taste just as good as this cereal, but you're lessening the sugar because guess what? Your body doesn't need that much sugar. So I really think bringing kids in the fold, I think we just so used to just helicopter parenting, just telling them what to do. They're going to listen more when they feel like they have a voice. And I feel like you may find and learn things about them and what more things that can go over into having discussions about their health and their body, because even though they are influenced to maybe make unhealthy decisions, they still this is a generation, they're way more attuned to what a healthy lifestyle is compared to what we were. So I think they know more than what you think they do, but sometimes by having that conversation you may find a lot about your child.
It's all about coming back to the table. And I know, Reshaunda, we've probably talked about this in the past. I used to say on my radio show every single Sunday when I was on KMOX, I would say, I'm telling you right now, you want to know what's going on in your kid's life? Have family dinners again. Go back to the table. And again, yes, get them involved because any of us, right? If you're creating something, you're proud of what you created, and they will be with you. Let's see. Lisa asked, how much water and protein do you recommend? That's a hard one.
So your protein, answer the protein question. So everyone's protein needs are different because it's dependent upon your weight.
Yep.
Okay? So that's not like it's not an overall recommendation question for everyone, right? So the best way to just simplify it is you just get your weight in pounds, okay, divided by 2.2. And that's going to give you about the amount of protein you want to have in a given day. Okay, that's the easiest way I can kind of make that math easy for you. When it comes to your water intake should be at a minimum, the 64-ounce number that we've always kind of been taught, 8 ounces, 8 full 8 ounces. But I would say definitely strive for 96, especially in warm weather. And that way you are definitely getting a substantial amount of fluid intake. And it doesn't have to, water definitely is the number one go-to. It could be salsa water. It could be tea. It could be beverages that don't have any sugar in it. It still has liquids. that could also kind of suffice your intake as far as your I guess fluids, if you want to say that.
What do you tell people, Reshaunda, when I hear it all the time? Oh, Monica, water's boring. And I'm like, well, infuse it with some fruits or something. What kind of advice do you give them to get more water?
Make it fun. That's where you infuse. I went back to seltzer water. I mean, everyone, some people love seltzer water, some people don't, but it definitely gives you that carbonation. You can still put in fruit in the seltzer water, and it can just give it a. I drink seltzer water at least twice a day, and it's one of my beverages. I love it. But I would say infused water is probably another option, and I always go back to tea. Tea is, it's basically herbs inside of water if you're not adding sugar. So that's other ways that you can bring in, flavors without any artificial, without any preservatives, that still suffices those liquids if you don't just want to drink water.
Jenny said, can you suggest any healthy sweet options when changing their eating habits if the cravings don't trigger binge eating?
Okay. So there are products out there that if you look at the back, you know all the words, and there's no more than 5 words. I always say, look at your ingredients. You want to be able to understand your ingredients, and you want to be able to feel like I know every single thing I'm putting in my body, and it's not anything that's chemical. So I look at, okay, if you want something sweet, to me, one of the most natural, I say snack bars or granola bars, it's like a kind bar. I mean, you can look at the bar, there's some chocolate, it's honey that gives you the sweetness, and then you have your nuts. Also, should say trail mix. Trail mix could be a natural way to getting some of those dried fruits in that gives you a little bit of that sweetness. Those are just natural foods, all of the ingredients you see. And I feel like sometimes we just need a little bit of sweetness, but don't have to be through the lenses of a candy bar or something that's made in a box for us to enjoy that sweetness. So maybe start off with like trail mix or like, nut bars, like a kind bar, because you see the food, you see the ingredients, and there's no level of process that has happened to bring in those foods.
I like that you brought up the bars, and I would love to have you on another show to break a lot of these other things down, because there are a lot of things out there that are marketed as healthy, and sometimes they're just masked as a candy bar. There are so many on the market. So you just mentioned kind. Are there any others that you maybe it's like a top 3 you would recommend?
Let's see. I would say the good thing is that companies are really, really on board bringing in products similar to kind, where at least you know all the ingredients. I would actually say, I say the Laura bar. The Laura bar, look at the ingredients in there. It's oats. It's some sort of like fruit. That's one I know for sure that don't have any artificial flavoring in it. Let's see if I can think of another one off the cusp. Because I don't really eat a lot of these bars, and I'm not saying they're bad, but I definitely just try to go whole foods.
I was just going to say that's a good point, because
you make your own.
Yeah, yes. I was going to ask you about the little protein balls.
Yeah.
I always ask my clients, if you have to, just don't make it. There's a reason why we call these things supplements. They're supposed to be supplemental to you eating natural and whole foods. And so it's not a whole life of protein drinks and protein bars. And then you're like, well, are you getting anything that's just natural? And then less and less and less ingredients. Okay, that's a good question, Richard. Is fruit good for you in the evening?
The answer, fruit is always going to be good for you because you're going to always get some sort of nutrients and fiber from it. So let's not put fruit in a negative space sometimes. Now, certain fruits have higher sugar content than others. So it depends on the time of the day. You can be strategic on which type of fruit you choose. So to give a quick array, your lower sugar fruits are always going to be your berries. Strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. So if you are going to engage in your fruits in the evening, you're probably going to go for the berries versus some of the sweeter fruits like your peaches, your pineapples, and your bananas, because they have just a higher sugar content. So bring in a more higher sugar fruits if you choose during the earlier part of the day when you have a higher metabolism, your body can burn it off and utilize that healthy sugar, and bring in more of the lower sugars in the evening because you're bringing in less sugar at the evening time, and you're bringing in a good amount of natural fibers with those berries.
And I think we would all prefer that you choose that over eating ice cream or eating cereal, all this processed aspect. Reshaunda, do you drink coffee? Rose asked. I am also a coffee junkie, but put organic half and half instead of all the sugar chemicals. So I behave there. Is too much coffee bad?
So coffee itself is caffeine, right? So caffeine is a natural stimulant. So it is not a negative thing. It's about how much we should have. You have no more than 200 milligrams a day. So depending what your idea of a cup of coffee is, if it's 8 ounces, if it's 10 ounces, that gauges how many milligrams you're probably having. So it's not necessarily coffee is bad, just we sometimes consume more than we need. And so what ends up happening is that one thing coffee is the appetite suppressant. So it takes away the hunger. So sometimes we drink coffee and we're not eating because it suppresses. It's a diuretic, so it makes you, use the restroom quicker, so you're more dehydrated. And we do bring in extra flavorings into our coffee that sometimes now it becomes a question of is it healthy or not, because maybe the sugar content or fat content. So I would say with coffee, it's going to be about moderation. Have one nice cup, and then maybe perhaps instead of bringing dairy or creamers that actually have more natural ingredients in it, half and half is don't have any artificial things in it, not any sugar in it. So it's going to be about which product you choose to add to your coffee. I do drink coffee. I drink 1 cup a day. And that's all I need, because guess what? My energy that I get is going to be from my foods, not necessarily from coffee. So I don't need coffee as a means of energy. So I do have my coffee, and I'm very particular about my creamer. And so the creamer that I use, it doesn't have any preservatives in it, any artificial flavors and sugars in it. And I put a dabble in it, and I meet in the middle, and I'm satisfied with it, and then that's all I need for today.
I meet in the middle with my coffee. I have this discussion with it. Yeah, Jenny said it's not being taught in school anymore. It's so hard to break the habits and so defeating. Anne said the same thing. She is a teacher. She said, our school lunches and breakfasts are so unhealthy. I wish they were healthier. Exactly. We are all saying we need changes. Kathleen said, I love water, strawberries, cucumber in the summer, very refreshing, putting lemon in it as well. Jenny wanted to know, what about the drink packets that many kids or adults want to add to their water, like Crystal Light, etc.?
Well, I mean, any of those drink packets, obviously they bring in flavor, but they will bring into some content an amount of sugar, and most likely it's going to be some sort of artificial sugar. So it's always, what's the lesser of the two evils? Yep. I work with clients, and they are just not big water fans. You can't make somebody just drink water because they know it's healthy, but maybe I can bribe them a little bit. So I may say, put in a little bit of that, make you drink 64 ounces of water. It could be a trade-off, only because you're really getting that water in that you need, and you're excuse me, you're getting the water that you need, and sometimes you're giving yourself a little bit of that just to make that happen. Then I say that's a win. But also, if you feel like you just have to have that to drink water, then I think that's where you do want to kind of reevaluate, how, again, can I wean myself to where I'm having less of it? Can I try other ways of bringing flavor to my water, so you're not dependent, or your child is dependent on that type of sweetness just to drink water?
And celebrate your wins. Again, you've got to find the positivity in your life, so you're not just constantly berating yourself. I think that's really where a lot of people go wrong. Don't you love her? I knew she would do great. I hate that the description, because I'm afraid that there's some people. That's why I'm going to switch it really quick as soon as we get off, to make sure that they know that today's show was for them. And yes, Richard, I know what you were talking about. He always teases us and says he eats ice cream in the evening. He said, I'm talking about my bananas and strawberries with my ice cream. There's your fruit that you're trying to do well, and then your ice cream. But you know what? That's the thing that we can tell you is things that you like, things that your kids are drawn to, there are healthier ways to make those. You just make some shifts in that. And then again, get the whole family to the table and make it a thing. Trust us. When you will see changes in your kids and in yourself and the whole family, and we'll get on board and be healthier. If you didn't hear, congratulations again to Reshaunda. She broke some news for us of what's going to be on her plate. She will be working with our St. Louis Cardinals, and as they win, and if they get the World Series, we're going to say it's all because of the good food Reshaunda put in them. That's right. Own that, girl. Let's see. Linda said, Rose, try unsweetened vanilla almond milk in your coffee. See, I just love this community. Great show. Thank you so much for all this advice. It hit home for me today. Very grateful. Reshaunda, you are welcome back on the show anytime, because we want to do more and more of this. And I just have to thank her, because literally we were at an event and I was like, this is in the news. I got to talk about this right now. And she's like, let's do it. So I love you for that.
So appreciate it.
All right. Again, any information that you want to know about Reshaunda, you can go to her website, ReshaundaThornton.com. And then what did you say your handle is on Instagram?
The dietitian against diets.
Yeah, we hate that word, don't we? The dietitian against diets. You are, again, as they said, and I've always known that, as beautiful as you are intelligent. You're just a wonderful soul. And I greatly appreciate you taking some time. I wish you the best with the Cardinals. Bring home a winning season for us.
I'll do my best.
All right, Reshaunda, thank you so much, all of you. Stay tuned. We'll let you know what's coming up on next week's show. We'll get you ready for that. We'll also tell you about the big mobile Monica coming up. And of course, wrap up with your devotional of the day. Don't go anywhere.
This lady got me in the best shape of my life. I literally didn't know that I could be in shape like that. But the amount that she pours into her clients, and especially whenever you get the one-on-one training, it's mind-blowing. I mean, it was really life-changing. I learned so much about proper form, about nutrition, about just being able to invest in myself. I hired Monica to be my personal trainer, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
And I love you, Abby, and everybody else that I've had an opportunity to affect their lives. We can do exactly what it says right there. We can help you physically, spiritually, mentally. It's the whole triangle of life theory that we always talk about. So I hope you got some really great information today from Reshaunda. Isn't she wonderful? There's two dietitians you always hear me talk about. Reshaunda Thornton is one of them. She hasn't been on the show yet. Now she has. Jennifer McDaniel was on our show a couple of months ago. So we've got a couple that I put in my team of experts. And she just said, Monica, you just call on me. I'll come back anytime you want. And I love her for that. So start loading your questions up. If you want to write me an email and say, boy, today's show really hit home. Can you have her back on and can we discuss this or that? And I know you're confused and we hear you. It's frustrating to try to make better choices and you just keep going backwards, or you're told that this is healthy for you, that's healthy for you. And then you end up finding out that you kind of were duped by the government, the FDA, what it allows in our food and what some of the hidden things that it's called something else and you're swearing that you're eating healthier. I get it. All right, let's do this. Let's do your devotional for the today, for the day. And this one, by the way, is the Jesus Calling book from Sarah Young on this March 21st. Trust me and don't be afraid, for I am your strength and I'm your song. Think what it means to have me as your strength. I spoke the universe into existence. My power is absolutely unlimited. Human weakness, consecrated to me, is like a magnet drawing my power into your neediness. However, fear can block the flow of my strength into you. Instead of trying to fight your fears, concentrate on trusting me. And when you relate to me in confident trust, there's no limit to how much I strengthen you. Now, remember that I am also your song, and I want you to share my joy, living in conscious awareness of my presence. Rejoice as we journey together toward heaven, and join me in singing my song. Again, hope everything today just kind of puts you in a better place, a better headspace, a better mood to take on the day and attack the day as it tries to get away from you. Bring it on back home and remember that you are valued and you are worthy, and put yourself first. I know it might sometimes feel like, that's selfish, but it's not. Put yourself first and then watch what happens to all those around you, your kids, your spouse, your friends, your coworkers, your boss. Everything just kind of feels, you can even hear it in my voice, a little airier and a little calmer. So if it feels like there's just toxicity and drama and stress out there, think about the choices that are being made by the way you think, by the way you eat, the people you surround yourself with, the way you're living your life. Got to make some incremental changes to get you on that path where ultimately you deserve to be. Coming up next week, we're going to take care of you. We're going to hold your hand through what some of you have experienced in our immediate area, or Oklahoma and Alabama, all over from the storms just a couple of weeks ago. And right now, you have some really horrible people that are trying to prey on you when you are already a victim to what you experienced. I'm talking about people that are snakes in the grass, and you need to know, what can I do to help myself with my home damage or car damage? So we're going to bring on Paul Meyer. Paul is with CarDash, which that in and of itself, I can't wait to tell you about. What a really amazing business. So look up, or I can have Jenny drop in CarDash for you. CarDash is his business and what he's able to do when you're in need of a car, which a lot of people are right now. But he's going to talk about what's going on very timely in the world of what to be looking for when someone's trying to sell you a car that's been damaged or made flood damage, all these things to look for. So he's going to help us out in that realm on Monday. And then Tuesday, we've got an author on. Stephanie Seek will be our guest. And this is going to be For all of you out there that might be divorced or you're single and you feel lost, now we're going to bring the relationship aspect into it. Wednesday, we have a mobile Monica out in Washington, Missouri at Hoffman Hillerman Nursery. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, we are just springboarding into spring for the gorgeous weather. Again, look out for all those beautiful cherry blossoms. The trees just are stunning right now. I'm looking out my window and I see still some dead trees. So I can't wait to get some leaves on them because we are ready for warmer weather. Are we not? Yes. It is 10 after 8. I want to thank you again for tuning in. Make sure that you share this show with as many as possible, because if they were clicking and seeing the description, it said that we were out at a boutique, which we were yesterday. Watch yesterday's show. It was so much fun. Jenny and I had a blast at Love Launch. And again, if you're looking for a place to shop for all sizes, and that's what I really love, all sizes, and she really means that, whether you're a 00 or 24, it doesn't matter, runs the gamut. She will help you out with that. So thank you, Leah, for having us on yesterday. And then today's show about nutrition. As soon as I wrap up here, I'm going to change the description in all the shows. And I hate that we weren't on Instagram and Rumble today, but we'll be back for everybody on all the platforms next week. All right, everybody, have a wonderful afternoon, evening, whatever your plans are. Be safe. Thank you for tuning in. I never take it for granted. I just love the fact that you wake up with us. And if there's anything you would like us to cover in the coming weeks and months ahead, be sure to let me know. We would love to put those guests and topics on for you. And hey, if you know of a sponsor that wants to be a part of our show and aligns with our mission, email me on that as well. Love you all. Have a beautiful one. And remember, always show kindness to another human being. God bless you.